In the heart of Accra, where the rhythmic pulse of drums met the modern hum of city life, a secret world stirred beneath the everyday chatter of a bustling compound. Here, amidst the vivid colors of market stalls and the warm embrace of community, two neighboring families were about to be swept into a tale of curiosity, danger, and unexpected redemption. In one modest but lively home lived Mama Naira, a woman renowned for her unwavering discipline and insistence on order. Every morning, the sound of her determined footsteps echoed along the compound's dusty paths as she prepared a strict routine for her beloved daughter, Akosua. Just next door resided Mama Adam, whose gentle smile and tender approach to life painted a picture of warmth and understanding. Her son, Kwaku, had grown up under her nurturing care, his laughter mingling with the spirited calls from the busy streets beyond their gate. From their earliest days, Akosua and Kwaku had been as inseparable as the twin strands of a braided head tie. They roamed the compound together, sharing whispered secrets beneath ancient mango trees and racing along sunlit alleys. Their friendship was a beacon of youthful joy, until the allure of a tiny glowing screen threatened to cast long shadows over their innocent bond. At the tender age of 12, Kwaku began to notice that many of his schoolmates carried a marvel in their palms: a smartphone. One humid afternoon, as the sun dipped low and painted the compound in a warm golden glow, Kwaku approached Mama Adam with hesitant resolve. "Ma," he said softly, his eyes filled with a mixture of longing and determination, "all my friends have phones. I feel like I'm missing out on a whole world." Mama Adam paused, spoon halfway to her mouth, a hint of concern etched on her gentle features. "Kwaku, my son, aren't you a bit too young for such a responsibility?" she queried, her voice laced with both love and caution. "But Ma, it's not just for games," Kwaku pleaded, his tone earnest. "I could use it to study, to learn things beyond our books." After a moment of thoughtful silence, Mama Adam set forth a challenge that reflected her belief in hard work and accountability. "If you can secure the top position in your class this term, I promise you a phone, but only if you prove that you truly deserve it." Inspired by his mother's words and the promise of a world at his fingertips, Kwaku threw himself into his studies with a fervor that surprised even his teachers. Day by day, as the compound stirred with the life of morning prayers and market bargains, Kwaku's determination grew. His efforts bore fruit at the end of the term when he proudly clutched his report card, a radiant smile illuminating his face. "That's first place, Ma!" he exclaimed, his voice trembling with joy. Mama Adam's eyes sparkled with pride as she enveloped him in a warm embrace. True to her word, she soon presented him with a sleek new smartphone, a device so modern and advanced that it seemed almost magical. For Kwaku, it was a window into a universe of knowledge, games, and endless possibilities. Before long, the little gadget became the center of his world. Even Akosua, with her disciplined upbringing under Mama Nyira's watchful eye, couldn't resist joining him in this newfound adventure. Together, the pair would huddle around the glowing screen in Kwaku's room, their laughter mingling with the soft whir of the phone's fans as they scrolled through colorful apps and funny videos. One sultry afternoon, as the shadows lengthened and the compound fell into a languid hush, Kwaku's thumb paused over an unfamiliar icon. "Look, Akosua," he whispered, a spark of curiosity igniting in his eyes. "What do you think this is?" The icon was unlike any they had seen before, a mysterious emblem that pulsed gently on the screen, beckoning them closer. With tentative excitement, Kwaku tapped it, and suddenly the room was bathed in an eerie light. A series of videos began to play, their thumbnails depicting scenes that were both perplexing and unsettling. These weren't the cheerful cartoons or playful games they were used to. These images hinted at secret behaviors, actions reserved for the mysterious world of adults. "What are they doing?" Akosua murmured, her voice barely audible, her face contorted between wonder and unease. Kwaku hesitated, his brows furrowing in thought. "I've heard whispers among the older boys. These are things grown-ups do, but why do they act so strangely?" His tone was uncertain, the questions tumbling out as if carried by the wind. A strange mix of fear and fascination took root in their hearts. The forbidden videos were unlike anything they had ever encountered. Their innocent exploration was quickly becoming a dangerous flirtation with a hidden world that promised excitement but concealed peril. Maybe we should stop, Akosua suggested, her voice trembling as she clutched the phone. Yet the allure of the unknown was too powerful to ignore. From that day forward, whenever the mothers were away at the market or tending to household duties, Kwaku and Akosua would sneak into Kwaku's room to delve deeper into the secrets the phone held. Their once carefree afternoons gave way to hushed conversations and furtive glances exchanged over the glowing screen. The vibrant laughter that had once filled the compound was gradually replaced by anxious whispers and an air of suspense that clung to them like a second skin. Weeks passed, and the mysterious videos began to weave their insidious spell. The children started to question the boundaries between innocent curiosity and reckless imitation. One fateful afternoon, as a humid breeze stirred the compound's dust, Akosua's voice broke the silence that had grown between them. "Kwaku, do you think it's wrong to watch these videos?" she asked, her eyes wide with uncertainty. Kwaku's gaze dropped to the floor. "It's just videos, Akosua. They're not hurting anyone. We're just learning what it means to be like the grown-ups," he replied, though his tone betrayed a hint of inner conflict. But the seed of temptation had already taken root. In the days that followed, Akosua's curiosity deepened until one evening, with a resolve that bordered on desperation, she proposed something that shocked even Kwaku. "What if we tried doing what we saw in those videos?" she whispered, her voice quivering with both excitement and fear. Kwaku's heart thundered in his chest. "No, Akosua, that's too dangerous," he protested, his eyes darting around as if expecting unseen eyes to watch their every move. "What if we get hurt? Or worse, what if someone catches us?" Yet the insistent pull of the forbidden proved irresistible. Despite his reservations, Kwaku's desire to please his friend, and perhaps to prove to himself that he could brave the unknown, eventually gave way to a reluctant agreement. Their first attempt, however, was a calamity. In a secluded corner of the compound, far from prying eyes, Akosua suddenly cried out in pain. A sharp, searing sensation had gripped her, and before Kwaku could react, she bolted away, tears streaking down her face like trails of broken hope. Days turned into a tense silence. The laughter that once bonded them was replaced by a palpable distance, each haunted by guilt and fear. Kwaku's regret was as heavy as the humid night air, but his attempts to apologize were met with Akosua's retreat into solitude. At school, in the quiet corridors where whispers told tales of misadventure, he finally managed to murmur, "I'm sorry," his voice barely rising above the ambient hum of the day. Akosua, after a long moment of silence, offered a fragile nod of forgiveness. Yet the incident left an indelible mark, a stark reminder that some mysteries were best left unexplored. Then, as if fate itself had conspired to test the limits of their fragile bond, Akosua's resolve hardened once more. "Kwaku," she declared one day with a surprising edge in her tone, "I think we should try it again." The words fell like a stone into the quiet recesses of their shared past. "But Akosua, the last time," Kwaku began, his voice filled with dread. "I'm scared of what might happen this time." "No," she interrupted firmly, her eyes glinting with a mixture of defiance and desperation. "This time, we'll be more careful. We'll be in a place where no one can disturb us." Driven by a sense of fatalistic inevitability, they decided to venture into the deserted classroom at school, a place where silence reigned supreme after the day's bustle had faded. The corridors, usually alive with the sounds of daily lessons, were empty and echoing with secrets. With hearts pounding like tribal drums, the two slipped into a forgotten corner of the classroom. They found solace in a locked toilet stall, a tiny sanctuary from the prying eyes of teachers and students. As they began to mimic the actions they had seen on the phone, a sudden sound shattered the fragile calm. Footsteps echoed ominously down the corridor. "Someone's coming," Kwaku hissed, his voice a mix of panic and regret. In a heartbeat, they bolted from the stall, dashing in opposite directions into the labyrinthine school halls. The echo of their hurried steps was soon swallowed by the silence of an empty institution, leaving them trembling in the shadows of near disaster. The weight of their secret grew heavier with each passing day. Unable to resist the lure of the forbidden, one fateful afternoon, they retreated to Kwaku's room once more. With the door firmly locked and the promise of solitude lingering in the air, they prepared to repeat their risky experiment. Just as the tension reached its peak, the sound of the front door creaking open shattered their fragile bubble. "Kwaku, are you home?" Mama Adam's voice rang out sharply from the hall. Panic seized them. Their hearts hammered in unison as Mama Adam's footsteps echoed down the corridor. In a desperate scramble, they tried to hide the evidence of their clandestine meeting, but the truth was written across their terrified faces. "Why is the door locked?" Mama Adam demanded as she rapped on the door, her tone laced with suspicion and disappointment. Caught between fear and remorse, Kwaku fumbled for words. Unable to construct a convincing lie, he and Akosua exchanged glances heavy with shared guilt. With voices trembling, they confessed everything. The mysterious videos, their secret meetings, and their reckless attempts to imitate what they'd seen. Mama Adam's eyes filled with a potent mix of shock and sorrow as the weight of their actions pressed down upon her. After a long, heavy silence, Mama Adam gently insisted, "Stay here. I need to speak with Mama Nyira." Without delay, she hurried next door. When Mama Nyira arrived, her strict facade faltered at the sight of the frightened children and the palpable tension in the air. "This isn't just about one of you," Mama Nyira said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Both of you have been drawn into something dangerous. We must act together to help you understand the risks of tampering with things you're not ready for." The two mothers retreated to a quiet corner of the compound, their voices low and laden with worry as they discussed what had transpired. Blame and regret wove through their conversation, yet they soon recognized that the fault lay not in one discipline alone, but in a failure to balance guidance with trust. With a shared determination, they resolved that their children needed more than parental reprimands. They required professional help, counseling, and a safe space to rediscover their innocence. In the days that followed, Mama Nyira and Mama Adam sat down with Akosua and Kwaku, explaining the dangers hidden behind the seductive glow of unmonitored technology. Their words were gentle yet firm, revealing the hidden risks that lurked in the shadows of the digital realm. The children listened, remorseful and wide-eyed, as they began to grasp the magnitude of their actions and the unpredictable world they had inadvertently entered. Over time, therapy sessions helped mend the rift that the forbidden curiosity had created. Kwaku and Akosua learned to channel their inquisitiveness into safer pursuits, rediscovering the simple joys of outdoor play and heartfelt conversation. Yet, the scars of that turbulent chapter lingered, serving as a cautionary tale for the entire compound. For Mama Nyira, the ordeal proved too painful to bear. With a heavy heart and a determination to provide her daughter with a fresh start, she decided to relocate to another town, seeking solace and new beginnings away from the memories of that fateful time. As the moving truck rumbled away from the familiar compound, Akosua watched silently, tears glistening in her eyes, knowing that some bonds, though once unbreakable, had been irreversibly altered. Meanwhile, Kwaku remained behind, burdened with a mix of regret, relief, and a newfound wisdom. He often sat by the window in his room, watching the world beyond the compound's walls, the digital screen now a silent reminder of lessons learned the hard way. The vibrant sounds of Accra continued their daily symphony. Yet beneath that lively rhythm lay a quiet warning, a whisper in the digital wind, urging caution in the face of irresistible temptation. In the end, the tale of Akosua and Kwaku became a poignant lesson for the community. It was a story of youthful curiosity, the dangers of unchecked exploration, and the vital importance of guidance in a rapidly changing world. The mothers, forever changed by the events, vowed to always be present in their children's lives, ensuring that the digital world would remain a tool for learning, not a gateway to peril. And so, dear listener, as you reflect on this modern fable, ask yourself, in this age of ever-present screens and endless information, at what age should a child be entrusted with a smartphone? How can we balance freedom with caution, curiosity with responsibility? Share your thoughts and let the conversation begin. For every tale, no matter how unpredictable, carries a lesson waiting to be learned.